Hey guys, Prangell Gaming here. Today I'm going to be giving my analysis of Millwall versus Peterborough. Of course, this is the Johnson's Paint Trophy game. Now I've got to say a few things before I get into the analysis. Now there weren't too many fans at the Den. I think it's due to the fact that it's only the first round of the Johnson's Paint Trophy and it's not a big trophy. It kind of is for League 1 and 2, but of course because they're the only teams competing in it, it doesn't really matter for the fans to go in the first round because it doesn't mean anything. It's kind of meaningless. Now, I've got to say, if you're a Millwall fan, is there any cups in particular that you really like and would have liked to have won this season? And does the Johnson's Paint Trophy actually mean anything to any of you Millwall fans out there? Now, I've got to say one thing about Peterborough just before we get into the game is they were looking fancy in that pink kit. Right, so let's get into the analysis. Of course, this is a highlight analysis, so I can't give you the actual what I saw at the game because I didn't go. I actually wanted to go, to be fair, but I couldn't. So, let's start talking about the analysis. I feel that John Marquis, he had a few good opportunities in that game, but he needs to score to hopefully show that he can shine in a Millwall shirt because it hasn't really worked for him at all. And I'm really upset because of that, because he's a brilliant striker and I've seen him shine at other clubs. He just hasn't done it in a Millwall shirt. Now, I've got to say, Williams is a good midfielder, but I've got to question how much he loves the club and how much he wants to play for Millwall because of what happened last season. He didn't show that enthusiasm to want to play for the club, and I think that is kind of what I don't feel that he's really ready to play for Millwall. Now, he has had a few good performances this season, but he's still not showing that great form that he did when he first joined the club, where he was definitely doing really well and he had a great spell then. But I've got a question, as I said, his love for the club and how much he wants to play for the club. Now I've got a feel about Ed Upson and Sean Williams. They are two great midfielders. I think they're fantastic, both of them, but I don't think they can play together. They struggle to play together. Now they had a few good opportunities where they linked up well, but they just don't help each other out as much as what they should do. Now, when the game against Chesterfield happened, where you had Powell and Thompson, they both linked up really well, and they were both a unit. They worked well together. Now, that is because they came through the youth system together, but still, they knew each other's weaknesses and strengths, and they were working together to help the team. Now, I've got to say, this game was a battle between two goalkeepers. Both goalkeepers were trying to show who was in the better form and who was going to be the better goalkeeper on the night. Now, Archer again had a great performance, and yet again he had a clean sheet, which I'm quite happy about, because every time you hear a goalkeeper have a clean sheet, you're quite happy because they don't concede goals, and especially for Millwall, you're quite glad because the defence actually didn't mess up to let the ball get towards the goalkeeper too much. And Archer did save most of the stuff that came his way. Now, with Carlos Edwards, I'm quite glad to see that he was on the pitch because he was a good player. Don't get me wrong, he's kind of towards the older of all the players at the club, but you can't question that he has legs and he will still move with them. He's a brilliant player, and I think that him being in the army before really helped because he's like that general that keeps the club going, and it was great to see him play 90 minutes considering he's just been injured. You wouldn't think that he's been injured the way he played in that game. He played really well, and I heard a lot of stuff when I was listening to Lions Live radio. Now, in the highlights, the defence, they didn't look shaky as they did against Chesterfield when I actually went and saw the game. Now, that's a good sign for Millwall because we always look like we're not very good at the back. Now, if we can sort that out, then maybe going forward we don't need to worry about too much because at least we can keep a clean sheet. Now, that would be in an ideal world, but it's not always an ideal world. You can think about it that way. We as Millwall looked like we was playing a lot better. Well, at least that's what I saw of Millwall. They were playing a lot more fluidly and they passed the ball around a lot better and created a lot more opportunities and linked up play pretty well. I've got to say, all the players had a decent performance compared to what they did against Chesterfield. Now, let's talk about the goal. Carlos Edwards. The cross was fantastic and it was great to see him get an assist in his first game. As I said, you wouldn't think that he was injured considering how well he was moving with the ball. And the Williams header, well, it was class. He needed to score. And if Williams hadn't have scored, I would have been really disappointed because he deserved to score in that game. Now, I'm going to quickly talk about the draw and who I want Millwall to get. Now, the draw is tomorrow on Soccer AM. I'd encourage you Millwall fans to go and watch that because it'll be quite interesting to see who gets who. Now, My personal opinion on who I want us to get is Bristol Rovers, and I only think that because Jermaine Easter and Steve Mildenhall both play for Bristol Rovers, and it'd be nice to play against two ex-players. I think that'd be really, really interesting, and it'd be quite fun, to be honest. But considering as the way we are in the cup and the way we're drawn, we have to get put against a certain number of clubs, and so some clubs we can't actually get. Just before I go, I've got to say, we played pretty well, and I think we deserved to win the game. It would have been so, well, nerve-wracking if we had to go to penalties. I hate penalties, and I really didn't want to see us going there. That would have been just devastating if we'd gone out on penalties, because I've seen us miss penalties before this season, and it wouldn't have gone well. So anyway guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye!